Welcome to the Rec Room Podcast. We're gonna get the fellas joined in. I'm gonna cue this music up.
Yep.
Okay, T Streets, what's good?
Chilling. What's going on?
Trying to get everybody locked in. One by one.
Come on, man.
Gonna be a live one. What up?
Eddie J.
Am I in here right now?
Yeah, you in here.
It's good.
Trying to get this music loaded.
Where the music at? That's what I called in for real.
Hey, what's up, baby?
Trey Philando.
What's up, man, brother?
T
What's
Street.
good with y'all?
What's good?
Man, we in the crib.
I need to load up the rest of this joint. You had practice and all that today?
Nah, man, we gave the boys a couple of days off for Memorial Day. We're gonna be back at it on Tuesday.
Okay. That's the best.
Yeah,
I talked to Jack not too long ago, so I don't know.
Man,
AG said he need 5 minutes.
Jack said,
Okay. Well, we'll end up getting into it before he
yeah. Oh, you
and then once he
already know that.
joins.
Black said he changed his mind because we didn't pay him to come on.
He was trying to post the flyer, but I think he was
I think he did it. I think
He
did
posted it, but you know what? I think you can only when you do a
Without
reel,
music?
I guess you can only put it on your story.
it. Yeah.
Cause I see y'all be putting
That's
the
what I
reel
be
on the
doing.
story.
Yeah. I be
He
doing
was
the
trying to
story,
go
bro.
through it for like 10 minutes.
I think
bro.
doing that make it look a little bit more, you know what I mean? I like the little reels and stories. I still don't really know what the hell I'm doing, but you know what I'm saying?
Me neither.
I make it do.
Yeah, I'll be guessing on that joint. It took me a minute at first when I was doing the loading the music with the reels. I can only do like 5 seconds, but it took me a
Okay.
minute. Once I started doing it, I was like, okay, I can edit it, make it 15 seconds. I don't
Okay.
know what I'd be doing that
Man,
joint.
okay.
I got the music part down packed though, so
Nah.
I'm
And
good
the
on
music joint, you know what I'm saying? The music is perfect. You know what I mean? It fits the flyer.
with Blackjack, man. I'm gonna have to.
Why he putting his suit on, man? He got
Hey, look,
another-
that's Bobby Brown right there, Playboy.
You know what I mean?
He probably had to change his socks.
I told him it's not a video. This is audio. He still wants to
Yeah, man, can't nobody see you, bro.
got a fresh face.
I can put his rings on. He put his rings on every finger. Hey, bro, he gonna have rings on every finger for the night. You know what I mean? That's how serious that nigga. Bruh, he gonna have rings on his thumbs, dog, for the night, bruh. He ready.
I'm gonna go ahead and cut the music off, man, because I don't know when they're
Let's
coming.
get
Bro.
rocking. Nah, we good, man. Listen, man, we getting up, man.
Yeah. So, welcome everybody to the Rec Room Podcast. This is episode number 16. The title of this episode is spirituality versus religion. Can you be spiritual and not believe in God? So we're gonna get into a real good discussion. Oh, here go AG right here.
Yeah.
Well, while we in here, AG, that's you?
Man, brother.
That would be me.
Brother. What up?
What
All
up?
right.
Hey, how's everybody doing? What's going on,
Man,
fam?
we in here, bro.
What's good?
We in the rec room.
So I was just letting the listeners know this is the 16th episode. And
Yes,
I'll
sir.
let them know what the title of the pod is. And I'm gonna introduce myself first. I'm the host. Go by E or E1. We got T Streets.
You?
We got AG.
Hello.
We got Trey Philando.
That be me. We here.
And we got a special guest. And we supposed to have 2 special guests. I don't know where Black at, but right now we're gonna welcome Weekend the Juniors, man. Welcome, bro.
Yeah.
Weekend
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
The world knows.
Yes, sir.
The world knows.
Yeah. So
Welcome.
with that being said, I don't know. I'm not a Lakers fan, but I am a LeBron fan. I really don't know why LeBron gets so much hate. I'm gonna be honest. When I was looking at comments on social media, it's like a lot of people hate him, and I don't get it because he don't do nothing negative. So I don't get where the hate is at. Somebody got a lot of a lot going on in the background. But
That's not
yeah,
me,
I don't
AG.
know.
Don't even do it. It's not me.
I don't know what the hate is about, right? Here you go, Jack.
Right.
I'm gonna have to get him. Black,
Yeah.
is
He
that
he
you?
right
Yes,
there.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yay.
Hey,
Yay.
not on my part, Black. Not on my
Not
Yeah.
part.
on my
You 10 minutes late.
platform.
Yeah. He
Not
thought
on
the
my
pod was next
platforms
week.
now.
Look, I
He said
You
he
expect
10
that.
minutes late.
I respect that. I'm respecting all the rec from y'all tonight.
You
So
know what I'm saying?
As you should.
He
Well,
had to get
let
his
me
suit
let,
and
let me
thing.
probably introduce. We got my man Blackjack. And the guests on our part tonight, not just guests, they actually our brothers. Let's give Blackjack a round of applause, man.
Absolutely.
Woo.
Absolutely.
hey, yo,
We
got the
appreciate you. So I was just talking
soundtrack.
about
Yeah.
how LeBron gets a lot of hate, and the Lakers got swept, man, by the Denver Nuggets. I don't know if y'all was keeping up with it. Did y'all expect that to happen?
Absolutely.
Because I didn't.
I
I
Not
expected
the
them to lose.
not the
yeah,
brooms.
what T said. I didn't think they were gonna win, but not one game y'all couldn't win. One game, bro.
One
I'm
game.
not
Yeah,
putting it
that
on
yeah
Braun
that.
because the world puts it on Braun, but
Yeah,
one
we'll
game,
put it
bro.
on Braun though.
Now,
All his
Bron
people was
came out that
slumming.
last game and ball.
Yeah.
Bron put up 40, 10, and 9 on the last game.
He
AD wasn't that bad.
right.
You know, AD showed up a few times in the series, but it didn't matter. They
I
couldn't do
keep
nothing with Joker or Murray.
I
Nah.
keep waiting on the dude Reeves to like stop playing like that, but
Reeves a baller.
Yeah.
that boy cook, bro.
Nah, he's pretty good.
He did.
He's out there cooking, man. But KCP, I know Lakers fans was like, bro, you wasn't doing that when you was
None
in
of that.
You wasn't
None
doing
of
that
that.
when you you know what I'm saying? And Bruce Brown too. I used to clown Bruce Brown when he was with the Nets,
Bruh.
man. Bruce Brown out there cooking, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Now,
saying? But they
T
deep. They
Streets,
deep.
T Streets. Do you
You
remember that I predicted that Denver was gonna win the whole thing a few pods ago? I don't know if y'all
now
remember. They haven't won
you
it,
didn't say that, but
but yeah. Oh yes, I
you
did.
didn't say that.
Oh yes.
I
Oh
said
no,
the
we got
Warriors.
proof.
The Warriors still might do it. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Run the tape back.
Yeah, I thought he said
I
Golden
got
State.
proof, bro.
I thought he
So
said
I
Golden
got
State.
Where's the soundbite?
So I got
Yo.
so I know y'all heard about this. Rock and roll soul icon Tina Turner passed away at 83. I'm gonna read a little bit of the article. You know, it says Tina Turner, one of rock and soul's music greatest icons and comeback stories, has died, leaving a 7-decade legacy that blazed a trail for divas like Beyonce, Rihanna, Christina Aguilera, Amy Winehouse, Jasmine Sullivan, and Ari Lennox. They spelled the name wrong in the joint. But in a statement released Wednesday, her representative announced Tina Turner, the queen of rock and roll, has died peacefully today at the age of 83 after a long illness in her home in Switzerland. So she's a 12-time Grammy winner, 2-time Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee. Her accolades go on and on. She's a legend. So, you know, we just want to say rest in peace.
Hey, yo,
Rest in peace to Tina Turner.
if I
She
heard
was
you right,
What'd you say, Jack?
if I heard you right, you say 7 decades?
7 decades, bro.
That's crazy.
But
Yeah,
check it
bro.
out. They said 2-time rock and roll. So me personally, like I would look at her more as like rock and roll, but because of like her stage performance, even back with Ike, like all the way through, like she did a couple R&B, man, but her stage presence, her voice, like how she could man. I watched her HBO doc last year. I don't know if anybody saw it.
I
Phenomenal.
didn't.
It was phenomenal, man. They went through her whole life, all the way through up until last year. So luckily, if anybody gets a chance, man, just check it out. She said she never watched What's Love Got to Do with It. She said she
Never
never
watched
watched
it?
it.
Yeah,
Said
I
she
wouldn't
never,
either.
Probably too
yeah,
I
painful,
got
man.
PTSD.
bruh,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. I got PTSD, bro.
bruh.
Yeah.
She went to like the film screening where they asked questions, but she said she never watched the movie. You know what I mean? Just because of that. But as far as her taking that pain and continuing with being like a phenomenal performer for, like Black said, seven decades, bro.
7 decades is crazy, man.
Yeah.
So
Rest in
Nah,
peace to
she
her,
a
man.
legend, dog.
can we hear for
Abs-
anime Bullock? Can we hear for
Anime,
anime?
anime,
Huh?
and
Give
anime
us
Huh?
for
You said, can
Bullock.
we hear it for?
You
Can we?
definitely.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm
Absolutely,
saying?
absolutely, man.
7 decades
Absolutely,
is
man. Rock and roll,
crazy.
bro. I ain't never heard nobody going to the Hall of Fame 2 times, like the
Yeah,
No,
that's
same
she
right.
was
Hall
a
of Fame.
beast, bro. She was a beast.
Ab-
She's somebody. I
absolutely,
mean,
but
our our
come
parents, and
on,
our
bro.
parents probably really know how she was, in her heyday or whatever. So,
Who y'all got tonight
uh,
with Boston and Miami though?
Miami.
Miami. Come on now.
Miami.
At this point,
Think
Jimmy.
so? I don't
Think
Jimmy.
know.
Boston gonna beat them.
But
I
oh
think
yeah,
Miami gonna win, but I think
uh,
Boston gonna win tonight though.
that's what I say.
okay,
If
Like,
if,
okay.
if
it's a
Miami
little
Boston
dude.
come
gonna beat
back,
Go
them
ahead.
tonight.
if Miami come back 3-0 from 3-0, and to win the series would be crazy. I don't see
You mean
that
But hold
Boston?
happening.
on.
I mean
But
Boston.
hold
Boston ain't
on.
Yeah,
happening.
But
Boston. My
hold
bad.
on.
Yeah.
But hold
Boston's
on.
not doing
The
that. They're
little
not built
boy,
like that.
the
They have
little
no heart.
the little boy, the little boy from Planet Fitness twisted his ankle last game. He's not playing tonight. The dude that used to work at Planet Fitness last year, what's his
Oh, that's
name? T.
hilarious.
The dude that used to work at Planet Fitness. What's his name? What's the see? You know, none of y'all know his name. That's about
Playing the
what's his name?
fitness.
Yeah, the dude that
Trey, you
played for
sound
Miami.
bitter. Does he have a lot of
No,
hair, Trey? Why you so
no,
bitter?
he
Why are you
bro,
so angry
T.
towards him?
Don't nobody know the guy's name. The guy worked at a summer camp, and not last year he playing for the Heat. Now he hurt his ankle. So is Tyler Hero going to play tonight?
No, the Heroes
Nah, I
out.
think he
Well,
did. I
I
think he
I
done,
think
bro.
Miami's going to lose tonight because they need the guy that hurt his ankle. And then he hurt his ankle when they was down 20 in the fourth quarter. So I think Boston tonight, Miami back in Miami. That's just my
Possible,
prediction.
but that's possible.
Nope.
Are y'all fight fans? Because the
Absolutely.
Yes,
biggest
sir.
fight
sir,
I'm
of the
here for
year is
this.
coming up, right? So it
Karate
Yeah, I'm
say
here for
Earl.
that.
according to ESPN, Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence
Mm-hmm.
Jr. have agreed to a deal to fight for the undisputed welterweight championship on July 29th at Las Vegas
Mm-hmm.
T-Mobile Arena. Sources
Mm-hmm.
tell ESPN. PBC's Al Heyman, who advises Spence, and CAA's Ish Henson,
Mm-hmm.
who advises Crawford, negotiated and now will deliver the most anticipated boxing match since the mega fight between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao in 2015. Crawford and Spence will each earn 8 figures,
Mm-hmm.
granted for the Showtime pay-per-view fight, sources say. So it's supposed to go down. Who y'all got?
Karate Earl.
Bud.
I
Bud.
got Crawford.
Karate
I
Earl.
got
Bud.
Karate Earl.
Bud.
I'm going Spence.
But
Oh
let me
yeah,
tell you
that's what I
something.
was
Let
about
me
to
tell
say,
you
man. I'm
something.
thinking about
Hey,
Spence
let me
right
tell you
now.
something. Spence ain't the same since the car accident. So
I
just
thought he.
But
imagine
I
I
before.
mean,
think he's
Nah,
still
nah, nah.
nice. I
You can
think he
tell
the
by the
same.
Garcia fight. Nah, you can tell that Garcia fight.
Yeah, but that was
I'm
his
telling you,
first
it was
one back though. Remember?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's
He
never
shouldn't have
been the
taken that
same.
fight. He shouldn't have
Yeah,
taken that fight. He should have had a tune-up fight.
yeah, because
I
but
that was
didn't
a
he
think.
long
win?
comeback
I
fight for him.
think.
Yeah,
I
he
think
won.
he.
Yeah, he
I
won.
think.
He won, but he
Yeah,
took
but
Garcia was not no, you know what I'm saying, easy way though.
no, that's what I'm
He was
Right.
saying.
not no easy way in that fight, bro.
Let me
But that
tell
was
you.
like 2 years ago. He done had even more time to heal though. By now, that was a few years
He done
ago,
had a
wasn't it?
couple fights since then.
But what we saying is he should have fought like Oscar Rodriguez or somebody. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Just to get his
Took you a
confidence
little
right.
slow joint,
He won though. It doesn't even
but
matter.
he
He
went in
won.
there. Nah, but he took a beating, a
Yeah.
unnecessary beating. You know what I'm saying?
He got
It
some.
was just
He got hit.
unnecessary, T.
He
I'm
got
telling
hit.
Yeah,
you.
but that was so long ago. It don't matter for this coming fight.
You know,
What do y'all think about the business of boxing today? Do you think that that the biggest fighters they fight enough?
Nope.
no,
Nope.
Yeah,
that's the
right. Like
problem.
Nope.
They
I was
scared to
This
having
fight
is
a
each
why.
other.
This is
It's
why
what
I
it
think the
is you
Don
have
King
too many
days, man.
promoters. You have too many.
Yeah,
You have too many houses right now. You have like 4 or 5 houses out there, and then my man Crawford would probably have his fight sooner if he was still. He was wrapped up with Bob Arum, which was a bad move. So now you got PBC, you got what else? The Zone. What other boxing houses? There's like I think there's another one. ESPN and PBC do a lot together, but there's Showtime. HBO is not out there like they used to be.
That Golden
So
Boy.
yeah, Golden Boy, which I feel for anybody that signs over there. My
You got the
goodness.
money team.
Right.
Ooh,
Right.
I
So
I think I think that I think that the business is hurting the frequency
of
of
course.
the
yeah,
big
definitely.
like You feel what I mean? Like the big fights. Like if you look back in the day at these all time great fighters, these dudes was fighting. I'm not even saying fighting every 4 months, at least once every 6 months. You know what I'm saying? But yo,
For
like
sure.
you waiting for
The
you
money
waiting a
was
whole
different though.
year. The money was different. But check it out, T. If you if you Spence, I'm still gonna buy the pay per view to see Spence, right? So whether you fighting once a year or twice a year, you're still Spence. So I'm just saying, like, people got to keep waiting and all that. That's why I ain't even want to talk about the fight until they sign. So now we can talk about it, right?
Hmm.
But it's just like, yo, like you never know. Look how long Mayweather ran from Pacquiao and waited
Oh
and
wait,
waited
whoa,
until.
Ho,
Look how
ho,
long
ho.
Nah,
Mayweather
that,
waited.
that's
Right?
Oh,
that's
back,
No,
that's
he
You
hold
waited
on.
no, he
7
didn't
that's
years.
run
what you
from no
say.
You waited
Pacquiao, bro.
7
Yes, he
years.
did.
7 years.
Not
He
run.
did.
7 years,
Yup,
He
bro.
did
Brett.
not run from
I'm
7
telling
He
steroid
you.
years.
ran.
pack.
And then
He
he
did not
said,
run
see,
from
you see what
steroid
I'm saying?
pack.
You
He
see how
He
you
ran
did
not
not
gonna
from him.
run
say he
from.
was on
Why?
He
steroids?
ran from steroids
Yes,
because
he
he
did.
Why you
was.
See
say
how,
No,
how
he
ran?
you
really didn't
cannot
wreck,
say he
man.
was on
Because
steroids,
he
bro.
was on.
He
It's
never
a
failed a
fact.
test. It's not a fact. He never failed
It
a
is
test.
a fact.
It's
It is
It
not a
is
not a
a
fact,
fact.
bro.
fact.
It's
Yo,
not a
It's not a
fact.
fact,
stop.
bro. Where's his test
Stop.
at? Show me his test, AG.
Like
That mean,
Canelo?
yeah, no,
Canelo.
not Canelo, not Canelo.
No.
Show me
Listen,
Pacquiao.
Right.
Show
listen,
me
I'm,
Pacquiao. Show me
listen,
Pacquiao. His
listen. That
test
I'm
right
Bama's
now.
saying you.
been juicing.
Email
That
it to
Bama's
me.
been juicing. That Bama was like Jack LaLanne, juicing, but on another plane. You know what I mean?
Jack
He's been
LaLanne.
juicing, but not that Jack
Jack
LaLanne.
Who been
LaLanne.
AG, who been juicing?
Manny
He's talking
Pacquiao's
about
been
Pacquiao.
juicing,
You
bro.
can't say
Okay.
Pacquiao
No, I
been.
thought you was
Come
talking about.
on, bro.
I thought you was talking about
Man,
Floyd.
juicing, man.
No, because
Was he
Floyd, he
juicing?
was very clear. He said, "Look, let's do this. This is the money, but you gotta take the steroid test." And he's like, "No, I don't want to. It takes his energy from me."
Man,
Come
bro,
on, man.
You know what?
Stop.
he waited 7 years
Stop.
to fight the man, bro.
Yeah, he
Come
waited.
on,
He waited.
AG.
He waited.
Come on,
They
AG.
see
Come
what
on,
they
AG.
did was they pulled the same stunt that Bernard and Roy pulled on us. They waited what 10
Mm.
years?
Talk to
It's
him.
the same stunt. And what I was afraid of, and I'm glad it's happening, even though I think it should have happened sooner, but I'm
Mhm.
glad it's happening this year. I thought Earl Spence and Crawford was going to pull the same move that
Me
Roy
too.
Jones and Bernard Hopkins pulled on us.
Nah.
Come
Nah.
when
No,
they
thankfully
both
not.
washed up and make $1 million off of us, because you know
Yeah.
Well,
we
that's
was
what
gonna pay.
Pacquiao and
We was gonna pay for it
Well,
regardless.
Mayweather was a washed up back.
Yeah, no, man. Manny May don't.
Not,
He ain't wash. He
not
does the
but yeah,
washing,
but
sir.
Pac,
He does the
Pac was
washing.
done. I mean, broken hand. I mean, Pac was not. You
Yeah,
know,
broken
That's
hands.
that's my point. That's my
yeah.
point. When I'm accusing you of roids without any evidence, I'm scared. That's
He's
all it
got.
is.
Yeah, you can't
That's
do
Dude.
all
it.
it
Yeah, you
is,
can't put a
bro.
stain
I'm not
on
You
gonna go
wait
that far.
7
Yeah,
years.
AG, you
Look at
can't
that
put
You
a
Bama's
wait
stain.
7
noggin.
You put a
years.
He's
stain
I'm not
on.
gonna go
juicing.
that
Nah,
far.
nah, AG.
Look
You
at that
put a
Bama's
stain.
noggin.
You put a
Come
stain
on,
on
bro.
that man's jacket. That's nasty
Thank
work,
you.
man.
Thank you.
Putting a stain
Thank
on
you.
that man's jacket.
You can't say I'm juicing and I never felt no test. That's
Flo-
crazy.
Floyd knew he didn't want to see that boy at his prime.
Floyd
He
didn't
knew.
want to see the boy. They
He
said
didn't want to
they
see that
said
boy,
they
man.
said that his skull got
Manny was
bigger.
juicing.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what?
Hey,
Manny,
bro.
yo, Manny was what Manny did to my boy
His head
what's
got
my
bigger,
man with
bro.
Keith
Barry Bonds.
Keith
Keith
Thurman.
Barry
Thurman.
Bonds.
Keith
Yeah.
Thurman got the work
Keith
from
Thurman.
Manny.
Oh
Was
yeah, he
Manny
had to
juicing
find
when
out.
he knocked out Thurman?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh
Well,
No,
I'm pretty
God!
sure.
Oh my
AG,
God!
Hey,
So
AG.
Hey,
Mayweather
oh
was
my
scared.
God!
AG,
He
cut
said
that
he
out.
was
Oh
scared.
my
I'm pretty sure he
God!
had
AG, what you
bigger.
got against
No,
Pat?
no, no.
What
Okay,
the-
okay.
Nothing. I love the guy. He's a
Hold on,
great
Oh
Trey.
my
senator.
Hold on.
I
Trey,
can't
Him
say
let
and
me
that.
Jinky.
ask.
I know his
So let me
wife,
ask.
Jinky. He's a
So
great
let me ask.
individual.
Now we really in the wreck
So
room.
AG, let me ask
Go
you
ahead,
this,
Black.
AG.
What you say, Black? Go
I
ahead,
want to
Black.
ask AG this. You know, since you're on the subject of him juicing, so how would you explain that third fight with him and Marquez?
Marquez knocked this on.
Okay,
Marquez won a couple more, and then he had to take his
was
spirit
Pac
from him in
was
front
he
of his
juicing
mama
then?
giving that bad juju. Remember that?
Oh yeah, we saw.
He knocked
we
the
saw
spirit
it.
out of him.
Okay,
He knocked
but
the
was
rings off Sonic the
Pacquiao
Hedgehog.
juicing in? So was he
Yes, he
juicing?
was. He just couldn't. But Marco was
Oh,
juicing
come
too.
on, AG. No.
Marco was
Cut
juicing
that
too.
out.
Let me
Everybody's
be honest.
juicing the
So
AG.
who's not
The homie,
juicing at this
the
point?
Everybody's
homie Marco
juicing.
was juicing.
Hey,
Yo, AG, you
It's a
gotta cut
dirty
that out,
game,
man.
bro.
Don't put that
but
It's a
stain on
dirty
that.
game.
Don't put that stain on that, man.
But
It's a dirty game,
Hey.
bro.
Hey.
Lomachenko got robbed last week. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you know what? I
Oh,
didn't see
yeah,
that
for
fight. I see a
sure.
lot of people saying that. I
Lomachenko
can't really
got
comment
robbed,
on it.
bro.
I ain't see it.
Got robbed.
I
Yeah, I
had to
got
go
you.
back to the fight. I think a lot of people that are saying that they understand boxing.
Oh, come on, man.
What
I
you
watched
mean,
it.
Black?
I gotta
What
watch
you
it,
I
mean?
watched
bro. I ain't
You
see
can watch
it.
it on YouTube.
Yeah, I went back on YouTube and watched it the next day.
I'm gonna watch
And
it
See,
again, Black. I'm gonna
it
watch
was
it again.
it
I'm gonna
was
watch it
close,
again.
but I
It
think
was a
it was
good
the right
fight.
call. It was a good fight,
Oh
close, but I think
man.
at the end of the day, I think they made the right call for Haney.
I'm gonna have
But I
that.
think
I'm
Shakur gonna take care of him though. Shakur gonna take care of Haney.
Yeah, I gotta see
Haney
Shakur.
Haney trying to get Tank next.
I think we
Tank.
need to
He don't
talk
want to see
about that
Tank.
you
young
Not
don't
after
want
fella.
that
that
fight.
work. You
No.
don't
Half
want
Hey,
Puerto
that
bro,
work.
Rican.
Tank gonna put him down second round, bro.
For real.
Yeah, he
You don't
ain't
want
ready
that
for
work.
Tank.
Whoa.
yeah.
Fool.
Don't
I
y'all
don't even.
think that? Don't y'all think that Tank got to get his boxing skills up a little bit more, though?
No, you
He do,
No, I
but on
A
mean,
little
that
bit
horse,
more. A
Yeah.
little bit more.
Yeah, he
You know what
does.
I mean?
nah,
I mean,
Yeah,
he
he
do,
does.
but
maybe a
that
little bit more,
power.
but not for Haney though. Not for Haney
That's
though.
Yeah,
You know,
what
I mean,
Okay.
Haney
Okay.
can
man,
box. Don't
please.
get me wrong. Haney can
Yeah.
box. He is technical,
For
sound,
Shakur
but
though.
he doesn't have a
For
He
lot
got
of
that jab,
power.
bro. Haney got the
He
For
got a
jab.
Shakur
jab.
though.
I just think that yeah, I think Tank
I think Shakur, just
has
It
because he
don't
trained out of Alexandria, he's half Puerto Rican, is going to win regardless.
True. True.
You
We
see,
got
it
to
don't
support
matter
the people.
who
not
Tank
doing that,
fight.
AG.
Tank
We're
got
not
the
doing that.
power. It doesn't matter if
We're
somebody
not
exactly.
doing that
outbox
Puerto
you.
Rican
Yeah,
thing.
for
Crawford
He
sure.
can't
said.
get hit.
Exactly.
Crawford
For
said.
sure.
Crawford said none of them can beat Shakur.
Yeah, I don't think
No,
anybody
Yeah,
can
that's
beat
what
Shakur,
he
Shakur.
Yeah.
said. He need to be worried
Shakur's,
about
look,
his fight.
Shakur. No, he doesn't.
Don't
No, listen. Hey,
worry
E.
about them. Worry about
Hey,
Spence.
hey,
That's who you
E.
need to
Worry
worry
Hey,
about
about.
E.
Yeah,
this.
He got this.
yeah.
Trust me, Crawford
Oh,
got
he
this.
got
It's going to be
okay.
light
I
work for
can't
him.
wait.
So
They
Ooh, I
saying
can't
that
Hey,
he's
wait.
look.
too
Hey,
small.
look.
everybody got
Pause. They
Crawford,
say,
huh?
listen,
Okay.
Crawford's a beast. He will go
Hey,
he,
look.
in the
Bruh,
middle of
Crawford
throwing a
is
combo. E,
nasty,
listen,
bro.
he would
hey,
throw a combo and the middle of combo goes southpaw on you. When have you seen that?
yo, E,
In,
E,
in front
he
What?
of
gonna
whole, in
he gonna
front
catch
of.
that Omaha. He gonna
Oh
You
catch
said
that
he
yeah,
what?
I'm
Omaha
Catch
about
that
to
left.
say
Omaha.
he gonna
He
It's
gonna
catch
catch
that
Warren
that
All right.
Omaha.
Omaha
Buffett.
left.
His
It's that
whole
Warren
stage
All
Buffett.
right.
be
Hey, I'm
all
telling you,
white
I'm
round
going.
seven.
in
Hey, E,
Nebraska.
Omaha.
Marco,
I'm going Spence. I'm going Spence
Of
KO.
course
But
you will.
I'm
It's because
going
you
I'm
hate
but
with
Crawford.
look.
Nas.
you, E.
That's what your
I'm with
problem
you, E.
is, E.
No,
That's why.
no,
That's because you hate
no,
Nas. That's
no.
why.
It's top five sometimes. I know y'all love. He top five sometimes.
Yeah,
He
they
top
go.
five sometimes.
That's that
Oh
Nas
man.
Hey,
talk.
Hey, look.
he
So
That's
said
what I
look.
don't
Nas is
So
understand.
look. Hey, look. Hey, look. I'm about to get into tonight's subject, right? Topic or whatever, right? And so tonight's topic is religion versus spirituality. Can you be spiritual and not believe in God? So I'm gonna read before we get into it because I got questions and this is gonna be a dope little discussion. And so I got an article from it's called reachout.com. I've never heard of them until I found this article. I'm not saying they're not popular, I don't know, but I think it was a dope article. So I'm gonna start off right. So it says spirituality is something that's often debated and commonly misunderstood. Many people confuse spirituality with religion, and so they bring pre-existing beliefs about the impact of religion to 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 discuss spirituality, right? So it says, though all religions emphasize spirituality as being an important part of faith, it's possible to be spiritual without necessarily being a part of an organized religious community. All right. So then it says, now this is what they think. We're going to get into what we feel. So it says, what's the difference between religion and spirituality? It says spirituality and religion can be hard to tell apart, but there are some pretty defined differences between the two. Religion is a specific set of organized beliefs and practices, usually shared by a community or a group. Spirituality is more of an individual practice and has to do with having a sense of peace and purpose. It also relates to the process of developing beliefs around the meaning of life and connection with others. So though it's a difference, it's kind of interchanged. What do you all think? Like, do you think that you can be, to me personally, I think being religious and spiritual is kind of one and the same. But I often hear people be like, I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual. And I never really ask, what they mean in detail. So like, what y'all think?
I think that's just them trying to get away from following the rules that most religions like.
Right.
Like a buffet, right? Like it's like I want to choose this part of it, but I don't want to deal with that part. I think everybody wants the benefits without putting the discipline in.
AG, that's I 100% agree with that. Jack, I want to hear what you got to say.
Why am I being
Hold on.
put on the
Can I?
spot? Go ahead,
Can I?
Trey.
Can I answer? Can I answer AG's question?
Go ahead.
So AG.
Yeah.
So what you're telling to, let's say, someone listening, right,
Yep.
is that because I'm not choosing what you might follow, I'm I'm not um I'm not a I'm not a righteous follower because I don't choose a specific religion. Is that
Well,
what you're
see,
saying?
no, what I'm saying is this, right? You have people that use this little scapegoat of I'm spiritual. I don't,
Mhm.
I don't believe in God, but I believe in the universe. That crap.
Okay.
And the reason why I think it's short sighted is because you're taking from something that hasn't been disproven, but is proven. And I'm not talking
Mhm.
about just if you believe in Christianity. Those that read the Quran, those that read the Torah, if you read all these books, they all have a lot of similarities. They all
Mhm.
talk about a lot of things. Even ancient cultures and civilizations all talk about the same things that are covered within the Bible or any holy scripture.
Right.
And
Right.
they all have the same basis, right? It's just like if all six of us were to watch a car accident, we can all agree on the car accident. It's the details where it gets unique as far as the perspective
Mhm.
is concerned, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
there are people in this world who want to just take and make it convenient for them to be a certain way
Okay.
without subscribing to the whole package. They want to go in the middle of the dinner, they want to order up a storm and then leave before the paycheck hits because they just don't want to feel the discipline. Well, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with this. Okay, great. This isn't for you. Go ahead and go about your journey and learn, but don't take away from people that do subscribe to a quote
Okay.
unquote religion or organized faith, because I think that has a lot of positives if you go from top to bottom, not just taking
I
what's
agree with
convenient
that.
for you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Why does someone has to be taken away from somebody else that's tied to a specific religion if they're not if they don't claim to be tied to a religion? Why do
Well,
they have to be taken from somebody else?
how do you mean by taken by somebody else? What do you mean by
You
that?
just said oh man, you just said that they're taken from somebody else's beliefs or spirit or their
Oh, the religion. Oh, yeah,
connection.
yeah, yeah. I got
Yeah.
you. I got you. I got you. So, what I say is this, right? Like, I'm learning just like everybody else, right? Um, I think that it's very easy to be like, well, I believe in the universe, or I believe in karma, or I believe in these other things, because that's the catchphrases right now. That's what I'm drawing upon, right? I'm not talking about anybody individually, but it's very easy to say, hey, let me ask the universe for this, or I want something for myself. It tends to be very self-centric, and it's always taken, 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 right, and not given, right? Where if you study to any religion or any thought, it's about community. It's to talk about having a higher purpose, doing something beyond yourself that just does more than just benefit yourself. And I think that's where I get a certain way, because people are very straightforward in saying, oh, I want blessings for me, and I want this, and I want prosperity, and I want money, and I want this, but you never hear about giving back. You know what I mean? Or subscribing to the discipline of, hey, abstain from living this way or living that way because it impacts other people.
Okay.
I think that's my point of it.
Weekend at Juniors.
I mean, when you talk about spiritual, I mean, at this day and time, you're gonna get. I guess it depends on who you ask and who's speaking. A lot of people have different beliefs. You know what I mean? Like me, like growing up as a Christian. I mean, it's so many different ways you can put it, but like spiritual, like means to be led and to live by the Spirit of God, or like allowing God's spirit to that's living inside you, like to guide your decisions, you know what I mean? Instead of like relying on your own thoughts or your own logic and your own intellect, and being led by the spirit, and not being fulfilled or led by your flesh, you know what I mean? So um there are going to be some people who, I mean, for whatever reason, they're going to say, yeah, I mean, I'm not really religious, because to me they kind of they can be separate depending on who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they'll say, yeah, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. And sometimes I've heard people say that they're spiritual and it has, like I said, nothing to do with a God. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a higher being, like something out there,
Mm-hmm.
stars, moon, a feeling. Like, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? There's so many different definitions that I've heard in my life, but to me, I guess it depends on who you talking to and what your belief is. But For
What
me,
does spiritual mean though? Like when you hear that and all, like what does that mean?
I don't. When I think of being spiritual, for me, like I say, for me personally, it's kind of all tied into one. I feel like I'm spiritual and I'm religious. I'm religious, but at the same time, and this is just a little off base. I believe that some people think that when you say you're religious, people put people who are religious on a pedestal,
Mm.
and a lot of people don't have the understanding that
Mm.
just because you're religious, that doesn't mean that you're perfect. People
Right.
put preachers and all of, and all that on a pedestal, and I think that some people are scared
Mm-hmm.
to say that they're religious because they feel like once I say that, that means that I shouldn't do certain things or say certain things. And yeah, it does mean that, but at the same time, we all are a work in progress.
True.
So, with that being said, um, I think being spiritual and being religious is one and the same for me. I do see a lot of people that separate it or they try to separate it. To each his own. To a certain degree, I try to focus on how I raise my family. Um, Not saying I don't care about others and stuff like that, but it's
Right.
just nowadays it just seems like I don't know. Everybody has such a a different opinion, and it's just
Right.
kind of crazy. And I think that when you're young, you're raised. Some people are raised in the church, and you just go by what your parents tell you, and you go by what the pastor says. But I think at the end of the day, once you turn into an adult, you start thinking for yourself, and you start having to look into what you really believe and feel. And I think that some people are willing to do that, and some aren't. And I believe what you say, Alex, and some people take shortcuts in terms of saying that they're spiritual. And some people may actually feel, I'm not going to knock people who say I'm just spiritual and that's what it is. It has
Right.
nothing to do with being, that I don't want to be in a religion. I'm just spiritual. I'm not knocking anyone, but I do understand what you're saying, AG. But I want to hear
Well,
from
before you,
Blackjack because I haven't
okay,
heard him
okay.
say a word. So
Hey.
do you think do you feel like it's a difference between religion and spirituality, or is it all one and the same to you?
I'm most definitely hold on, let me put my black hoodie on, cause y'all about to
Hey.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Come on, Black, give it to
Uh-oh.
You got the V-neck. You got the
I thought you was
V-neck
having
hold
the
hoodie.
on.
I thought you
We
had the
doing
gray
this.
The
hoodie.
the
You
Nah,
said
V-neck
you was wearing the
hoodie.
nah.
gray hoodie.
Yeah, I was gonna put on a gray hoodie tonight, but this conversation got a little bit too hard to break. Y'all about
He got he got the black hoodie on with the dress shoes. He
With the
ready.
V-neck.
I'm gonna make sure.
it sounds like YG. Oh, let me switch it
Hey, look,
Watchy.
I'm gonna make sure Jesus Christ gets some glory tonight. That's all.
yeah.
Let's
Come
go,
on with it,
Black.
Let's
Black.
get it. Let's
Let's
get it, Black.
go,
Let's
Black.
After it's
get
all
it.
said and done, Jesus Christ gonna get, be on the throne.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
But
go. Let's go.
this how I've heard the term religion a lot.
Hmm.
I've heard people say they're religious. I've heard people say they're spiritual.
Mhm.
You know, here's how I look at it. Number one, I'm not a Christian. I don't, but I think that is a label that the world put on us. Anybody that believes in Jesus Christ, they label, oh, you're a Christian.
Mhm.
There's no such thing as a Christian or Christianity. You would never find that word Christian or Christianity mentioned one time in the entire Bible, from the
Mhm.
book of Genesis all the way to Revelations. That is something that the world has labeled us to make anybody that follows Jesus Christ make make it look like it's a religion. Being a follower of Christ is not a religion at all, because there is no good works in me. There's nothing I can do that God is going to look at me like Jack is doing good. So because of him doing good, let me bring him up here. There is, there's nothing you can do. Christy, being a follower of Christ, um, it's about let me break it down to you. In the beginning, right? God created all this thing, created a man, gave him a wife, and said
Mhm.
one thing. He made one law. Remember, in the beginning of the world, there was only one law. That one law was do not touch this tree, right? God is a king, he's a creator. When he makes a decree, and if one of his kids, it's just like, all you fathers that's on this podcast right now that got children, if you make a law in your house and say this one thing, True, Nori, Ezra, you know what I'm saying? Do not touch this. If one of those kids touch that, right? He got to punish Ezra. Trey, you got to punish Nori. I don't care if True is looking at it because True's looking at the fact that you made a law. So if True broke that law, right, in your house, he's going to be looking back at it like, wait, how come, you know what I'm saying, she's not getting punished? So what happened was when God made that law, right, we, you know, Adam, the first creation broke that law in that garden. He broke that law. But God being God, right? He decided, you know what I'm saying? He told Adam, the day you touch of this tree, you're going to die. Something had to die for that sin that Adam committed in that garden. So what happened was, instead of God killing Adam, right? He made provision. He made provision for him. And what was the provision? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ had to come die for that law. Instead of Adam dying for that law that he broke in that garden, Jesus Christ had to come in. So I don't care how much Bible you know, and that's for all the religious folks that like to go around quoting scriptures and trying to be holier than thou because they have an agenda and they have a motive. And it's not real, it's a demonic spirit. When Adam broke that law, something had to die. So Jesus Christ was that, he was the only one that can, you know what I'm saying, fulfill it because he was perfect. He was perfect in the sight of God to fulfill and take that sin off of us. So I don't care how much Bible you know from Genesis all the way to Revelations, right? There is only one thing that God cares about. And that one thing is in the book of John, chapter 3, verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, whomsoever shall believe him shall have eternal life. So that one law, remember in the beginning I said there was only one law in the Bible. That one law turned into 10 laws, which is the 10 commandments. Now 2023, can anybody on this platform tell me how many laws that we got right now in 2023?
What you mean laws in terms of what?
In our little bubble, the United States. I'm not talking about the
Mm.
entire world. Can you imagine how many laws that we got?
Oh, several. Too many.
It's too many that you can't even count. Because every
Right.
single time that we sin, we take the blessings that God gave us. And there has to be a law to keep us in check. But what Jesus Christ did was the only law that matters right now is John 3:16 that God cares about. What do you think about my son? Because
True.
God is like that. That's why I say Christianity, when they say being a follower of Christ, it's a relationship. God said, Jack, this is the provision that I made for the sin that was committed in the garden. If you believe in my son, you don't have to do Ramadan. You don't have to travel to Mecca. You don't have to go to confession like the Catholic tells you to do. You don't have to dress a certain way. You don't have to look and say, see, that's what religion teaches you. Relationship is what God is built, provided for us. He said, if you have a relationship with my son, you can come to me. That's why John chapter 14:6, he says, I am the way and I'm the truth and I'm the life. No one gets to the Father but by me. So it's a relationship. So God is saying the only way you can get into heaven is how you feel about my son. So before you leave this earth, you better have an answer. You better have an answer. Now you can go, you can go ahead and live the rest of your life how you want to live, but you better make sure you have made that peace with the Son. Because if you haven't, and you still running around in the valley of decision, trying to figure out if Allah's real, if the Pope is real, if Buddha's real, of just being a good person is real, that is a bad space. It's a bad spot that you don't want to be in.
So Black,
I want to be
I'm
long winded, though. I'm sorry.
no, it's all good. So Black,
Before you,
so the son, no, I was going to
before you,
get to you, T Streets. I was getting ready to I'm not, but I remember that you was about to say something. I was just trying to get Black this. So Black summing it up as, and when the question about spirituality and religion, you pretty much explained it, how you feel about it or whatever very well. T Streets, I ain't forget you. I know you had something to say. Let's get it.
all right. Well, I actually, I agree with Black. I agree with Black in a lot of ways of what he said. Now, if we break it down, I probably disagree with some things, but in general, I agree with what he said. I am the person that says he's spiritual, and my main reason, I have more reasons, but my most important reason is the fact that when I look at the different religions that, or at least the popular five, the most popular five, it's just throughout history just shows division of people, wars, death. Throughout history we've seen that. So I say I'm spiritual because I just don't rock with the division part. Now, because I grew up in a Christian house, my spirituality is Christian based. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in God. So for somebody, if you actually hear me be serious on the topic, you may think I'm a Christian, but I don't subscribe to those labels. And basically being spiritual to me is to not be tagged with a label.
Right. Got it.
No, that's real. And the thing
That's
is,
good.
you actually segued into a question, and the question was, do y'all think that religion drives separation? And when I think about that myself, it most definitely does, right?
Absolutely.
And y'all know me, I'll be having my little stories or whatever, right? So
Hey.
so me thinking about division, right? I'm gonna give a story on a female that I dated, right? And this female, this when I was, this is before being married and all that, bro.
Don't put him in category like that. Come on.
Hey, yo,
I ain't dating her. She came
hold
over
on.
like,
You can come to my house if you want to.
Hey,
yeah.
Be careful, bro. Be careful.
Nah, I got y'all, right? I got y'all. She know this story, right? She know this story. So this is related to religion that can divide people. And so this was years and years ago. I met someone who was she was Muslim, and she was from Egypt, and she moved here when she was 16 years old to the United States from Egypt. And long story short, we ended up dating, but it was prohibited because by her being a Muslim, they're not supposed to date Christian guys, but a Muslim can date a Christian woman. Of course, it's made for the man to be able to do what he wants to do or whatever. So we were dating. We weren't supposed to date. She would wear her hijab. She was, devout. She would pray. I can't remember how many times a day Muslims pray. But she did the whole 9.
Right.
And because of her religion, we weren't supposed to date, and we would have never been able to get married just because of the religion, right? Now, mind you, at this time, I didn't know much about Muslims, but I was always told from my mom growing up, and I didn't read this, that, like if you're not a Christian, then you're going to go to hell or whatever like that, right? So that was in my mind. I hadn't done the knowledge for my own self, but I just remember being told that, you know what I mean? Like if you don't believe in Jesus, then you go to hell or whatever. And by me learning her faith it was crazy to me because I used to think in my mind like that, like she had such a good heart. She was nice
Mm.
to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to think to myself like, hey, so because she's a Muslim, she gonna go to hell, but her heart
Mm.
is like so perfect, and just how she treated people and the way she prayed and the way she did everything. And her faith had a lot of different rules that was a little weird to me, and she would get
Yeah.
offended because she had told me where like in her faith, if you wear your hijab, let's say that your cousin lives with you,
Mm-hmm.
and you all live in the same house, and she has her hijab on, that means that she's untouchable or whatever. But if she doesn't wear it, that lets the cousin know that she's available, which was weird to me. And when she told me that, I was like, ugh, she got a little offended because she was like, that's my religion, respect it, whatever, right? That's
Right.
just a sidebar. But
Right.
overall, what I'm trying to say is, because of her religion and because of my religion, we weren't supposed to date each other. And so, getting back to the question about religion,
Division.
division, yes, I think that it definitely is a separator, because if you love God, I don't understand why you can't really coexist with each other.
I mean, the Bible talk
But
about.
this is supposed to, when you think about religion, though, I mean, like it depends. Like when I say, like when I grew up, growing up, there's things that, like we said, it's like a set of rules, things you're not supposed to do. Growing up, it was kind of conflicting because, and I guess it all depends on what church you go to and the people inside that church. I was told, like, even if it's your family, if like, not even if they don't, like, even if they don't believe in, they're not practicing any religion, they don't believe in any God, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to be hanging around certain people who aren't Christians. That's how extreme the church I went to. It
Mm.
was conflicting
Mm.
because I grew up in a Christian household. My dad was real heavy in it. He was a deacon, but I had
Mm.
a bunch of cousins, a bunch of family members, aunts, uncles who weren't Christians. You know what I'm saying? Or didn't practice it like we did, and
Mm-hmm.
I was conflicted. I was going to church and saying, okay, you're not supposed to be fellowship and hanging with them, which is so weird. I was actually told that one time, you know what I mean? But I had
Mm.
made up my mind as a kid, like, man, I don't care if you were Christian or not, and you my friend or whatever, I'm gonna love you anyway. You know what I'm saying? If
Mm-hmm.
there's a situation where you doing something I'm not supposed to do, I know how to step away or not subscribe to it. But as I got older, when I started um being just learning more about the other religions and just getting older and understanding life more. Religion is actually, I mean, religion is designed to separate, because
Mm.
I can't speak on every single religion, but a lot of them that I've heard, they all believe that who they believe in, their higher being
That's
is the
it.
one and only. You know what I mean? If you don't believe in Allah, if you don't believe in Jesus, if you don't believe in whoever, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to heaven. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of designed to be that way. Everyone
Yeah,
believes that their God and who they believe in, that's the one and only true God. And if you're not in line on the bus with that, you're going to hell. So
I most
that's
definitely.
how it's designed to me,
I agree with you, Ed, because you and I came from a fundamentalist Baptist church background. So
for
I know
sure.
exactly, what you're saying. And the thing is, this is why I always stress to people when I talk to them about Jesus. I don't talk to people about church. I don't talk to people when I meet them. I don't brag about my pastor. I don't
Mm,
brag
Mm.
about my church members.
Mm.
See,
mm,
that's a sign of, see, now you're being religious.
There
Because
you
mm,
these
go.
people that you bragging about, they are sinful. They got to go through the same thing you got to go through to get to that, get to heaven's gate. So, the thing is, when people try to, always, look out for, whenever there's division, let that be a huge red
Right.
flag. The thing is, always follow, study the real thing. I tell people that all the time. It's like when you get a job at a bank, one of the things that they teach you how to study real money. So when that counterfeit is brought to you, you know it's
You
fake.
could spot it. You
yeah,
spot
You
it.
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Me, I studied the real thing. And the real thing to me personally, is Jesus Christ. I
yeah.
study Jesus Christ. When I read that Bible, I'm not trying to, David, Abraham, Moses, Isaiah, Malachi, Micah. Jeremiah, man, I can go on for days. Much respect for all of those men.
Hmm.
But John chapter 14:6 does not pertain to them, which is I am the way and I'm the truth and I'm the life. I respect these men that came before me, but that's not who I'm studying. I'm studying Christ. Because when I study the real thing, I can always tell when something fake is,
Yeah.
I'm being approached. It's like, Ed touched on something about how, especially in churches today, they preach religion more than they preach relationship.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
They are preaching religion more in
Hmm.
churches in
And that's by
2023,
design.
Yep.
more, of course, because they have an
Mm-hmm.
agenda.
Yep.
Hmm.
They have an
Hmm.
agenda. Trust you
Mm-hmm.
me, the same
Monetary.
people,
Yep.
yeah, the same. Remember,
Control.
these religious people, right? We read the Bible. We think that once the Bible and in Revelations, that same spirit that was back then is not existing now, 2023. Remember, Jesus Christ was condemned and was handed over to the Romans to be crucified. By who? By religious people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Because
Hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
couldn't figure out, okay, if you're a man of God, if you're the son of God, why are you hanging out with these certain people?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Look at the people that Jesus Christ was hanging out with. One of them was a
Mm-hmm.
prostitute.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, his best friend, when he first met Peter, Peter was cursing like a sailor. According to religion, he should have never been affiliated with them. Why is
Right.
Jesus Christ hanging out with these people? Because Jesus Christ was trying to paint a picture. Jack, I am not here. And he even says it in the New Testament. I did not come to call the righteous to repent. If they think they're righteous, let them be righteous. If they think they too good, let them be. I came for the sinners. I came for them.
Mm.
This is why I'm walking around 3.5 years homeless. Remember, Jesus Christ said it. Even foxes have holes, even birds have nests. The Son of Man doesn't even have a place to lay his head. So this man was really out here in these streets for 3.5 years, sleeping wherever he was, welcome, or probably or was sleeping outside. Religion is what put Jesus Christ on that cross. This is why I disdain it, and especially, so-called, followers of Christ. When they hear the word religion, the first thing they do, instead of looking at their own self in the mirror, the first thing they do, they attack, oh yeah, we're gonna attack the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
We're gonna attack the Muslim religion. Let me
Hmm.
tell you
Mm-hmm.
something about that Muslim religion, right?
Hmm.
They have good morals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Uh-oh.
like what they stand for. I like that
Yeah.
modesty, how they want
Yeah.
women to dress. I, and I am for all of that. The only thing I'm telling you, Muslims people today, the only thing that they're missing is the fact that they refuse to accept that Jesus Christ is God. And the moment they really study the Bible, they really study the Bible instead of going into the Bible trying to they trying to outsmart God or going in there with their own agenda. Because one thing about that Bible, if your heart ain't right, if it's not in the right place, and you open that Bible, you're not going to get nothing out of it. But if your heart is in the right place, God will show you the truth.
Well, you know what I noticed? Um,
Mm,
I noticed by looking on social media, and maybe it's always been like this, but maybe social media is not somewhat new, but I really never knew how many people don't believe in anything.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And I see
Yeah.
a lot of posts, right? I might see a lot of spiritual posts like with TikTok, and under the comments, it's unbelievable.
Let me
Mm-hmm.
speak on that.
Unbelievable how
Let me
many
speak on that.
people, how many people, think that there's no such thing as anything. And that's kind of odd to me. Even if you don't, whatever God you believe in or don't, I don't understand how people believe animals and trees and
Hmm.
earth and the waters, like they just appeared from nowhere.
Right.
Right.
And so, my question is kind of like, how do y'all feel? Do you feel like how do you feel about atheists, people who don't believe in anything, in God or anything? Do you feel like you can be friends with an atheist? Do you feel like you can hang with someone who's atheist? Do you feel like after a while you would have to explain to them that you believe in God? Like, how do y'all feel about a person that's a known
Mm.
atheist? Someone could be an atheist and they don't reveal it, but how do you feel
Right.
about knowing
You,
someone is an atheist and being friends with them?
I got two things with that. It's 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 crazy how we could be having a whole conversation, right, for 2 hours, whatever. You could be my coworker, whatever. We meet at a bus stop or whatever. The conversation is going great. If somebody brings up who they worship, everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But everything was fine for the whole hour,
Mm.
right? But because now I'm automatically putting a label on you. I don't care who you worship. I don't care what it is. A lot of times that will change a whole person's perception. But it was cool the hour, the 2 hours, a couple weeks, right? I think that that is where the separation comes in, is the judgment part, because I can believe what I believe, you believe what you believe, but if we're in an event and something catastrophic happens and one of
Mm-hmm.
us saved the other person's freaking life,
Mm-hmm.
I don't I like that's the only thing. And it's still fine for for people to believe what they want to believe, but going back to what Weekend at Jones was talking about with the division, that's that's what it is. So just to add on to E's point and to add on to what he was talking about with people not believing in anything. All right, so I can get the actual source, but it talks about how basically the younger people these days are believing less and less. So it talks
Mm-hmm.
about how religious changes have affected generations quite differently as
Mm-hmm.
well. Young adults are disaffiliating with from religion
Mm-hmm.
at far greater rates today than they did a generation ago. The higher rates of disaffiliation among Gen Z and millennials are largely the result of being raised in households that place less emphasis on regular religious practice, right? So that could add to Black's point where you're focusing on the religion but not the actual relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it says that now the age gap and in religiosity has never been wider, according to the General Social Survey. 42% of young people are religiously unaffiliated, compared to 17% of seniors. A whopping 25-point gap between the youngest and the oldest Americans. In the early 90s, there was only a 6-point divide separating young adults and seniors. So I would just like to add, why do we feel that the younger people are less affiliated with choosing?
I'm gonna
I,
tell you.
I'll tell you
Oh,
Okay.
too. Go ahead, E. Go ahead, E.
so the reason that I think that a lot of people don't believe in God because they feel like they feel like if there's a God, why would negative things happen? And so when someone may see like a baby get hit by a car
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
or see something tragic happen, or let's just say there's a tornado and people die, people take that and they like, well, if God is real and he's everything that y'all say he is, why would those things happen, right?
Mm.
And the second part is that people put pastors on pedestals.
Yep.
So when this social media era, you're able to see everything. So when you see a pastor that lives in a big mansion and a pastor, and then everybody doesn't know there's false prophets. So it gets deep.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see a pastor that's living a whole lot better than you may be living, and they live in a rich lifestyle, people feel a way about that and they feel like they're fake. And also people will put pastors on pedestals. So if you see a pastor get arrested or you heard that a pastor slept with someone, what that does
Mm-hmm.
in turn is make somebody be like, well, these are saying everybody in church is doing the same thing that people in the world do. You're the
Mm-hmm.
pastor and you're doing this. It makes people say, you know what? I'm done with all of it. All of it's bullshit, right? And I think that's something that I think that social media of showing, not social media's fault, but it just shows everything that's happening in the world, positive and negative, and just a lot of people feel like if negative things happen in life, there can't be a God. So
Yeah.
AJ,
You
I
know
didn't mean to
what?
cut you
It,
off.
Go ahead.
Nah.
Go ahead, y'all.
So I mean, it's that, right? And it's also the emphasis on the negative, because when we think of religion, right, we think of certain religious sects, um, Christianity, Catholicism. There's been a lot of negative information about what certain individuals do that's creating a stain within that section, right? When you're dealing with unfortunate circumstances like child molestation, abuse of power, the Vatican being one of the richest banks in the world, one of the biggest owners of land and things of industry, it makes people question the validity of what they're saying and making it seem like, oh, this is just a money grab. They're just a big nonprofit. They just want power. They want to control us. And they don't try to have that relationship like Black had mentioned. They don't want to learn for themselves. They rely too much on a person. That
Mm-hmm.
person disappoints them. Then they go away from it. So, and I think that when you're just getting bombarded with that day in, day out, the negativity, it makes, that's not what I believe in. I don't like this. Maybe this isn't the right for me. Instead of researching or doing some more work, I'm just
Right.
going to leave that alone.
Well, I'm not gonna do the work because I'm just listening to whatever my pastor is saying.
Right.
Yep.
Right? Like
Right.
I'm listening to whatever my priest is saying. Meanwhile, when you look up pedophilia and a lot of the Catholic priests, not all of them, a lot of them, and you know what I mean, being investigated for pedophilia, but yet people still bring their kids to the same
Right.
church.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, so but that's what makes Black's point earlier much more poignant. Is
Mm-hmm.
talking about you having a relationship, but you're not serving the actual human being that's inside of this building,
Right.
right? And that's
yeah.
why I think that that's very, very important for people that might listen to this tonight or listen to this later on, is how the relationship is most important. But I want to add that. Plus, just to add on to Eve's point, it talks about it's not that young adults are just less religious. America's youngest and oldest adults inhabit entirely different religious worlds. Young adults are coming of age at a time when religious leaders are far less trusted. Religiosity has become closely associated with conservative politics and anti gay attitudes. Their social contexts are also distinct. Young adults today are more likely to know an atheist than to know an evangelical Christian.
Mm.
I'll say this, or I'll give an example where what Eve was talking about. When I was younger, I was that kid that did away with believing in anything at one point, because I want to say I was either fourth, fifth grade. I was getting bad grades, and I've always had a mouth. I'm always talked back. Teachers, parents, anybody. It didn't matter. If I felt disrespected, I'm disrespecting you back. So that's how I've always been. And I remember my grandmother dragged me to church to talk to the pastor, some deacons, and whoever else. And they sat there, called me devil child and all of this. And this was preteen, preteen. So by the time I become, then just with that, I'm like, all right, I'm not coming back. And I didn't go back to that church again until I was probably until my grandmother passed away. It might have been the next time I went back to that church. But what was I saying? But okay, but you fast forward 3 to 4 years when I'm in that 15, 16, even 14-year-old range, I see these same guys that call me a devil child out in the street doing basically playing in the devil's playground. And
Mm.
I held on to that. That was like, oh, this is confirmation why I don't rock with it. And it took years. I can't remember who, somebody said something to me that finally got me to think a different way. They told me that Church isn't about the people. It's about the word. Forget the people. Don't worry about the people. The people who are going to make mistakes. They're going to contradict themselves. You're going to see a whole bunch of people inside that church building that's worse than you when it comes to their sins. So it might have been Junior that said something similar to that to me. It might have been Junior because he was the one friend that I knew that was at church all the time. So I mean, every Sunday he was there every Sunday. So he might have been the person that got through to me, not knowingly, because I'm sure I didn't let him know. But I think it was him. I think it was you, Junior, that said just that simple thing that just made me think of it differently. And then like I kind of eased up on my belief at that time, but I still held on. I could never forgive the people. Like I couldn't do it. I still can't. I'm still bitter about it. But it made me rethink the way that I dealt with religion, spirituality, anything. Because I was spiritual as a young teen, and it just wasn't there. I didn't care to even try to find it because of what happened to me in church.
Well,
Hey,
I
Yeah,
will.
that's
hey,
real
That's all I
clear.
was.
I will say
hey,
this.
Blackjack.
Yeah.
Hey, Black. Let me ask you a question.
Uh huh.
So for some younger people that's out here listening, right, to the
Hmm.
conversation, and they might want to know was Blackjack, was he always this knowledgeable in the context of the Bible? Were you always this way, or if you were not, what what situations happened that help you to connect in the way that you connect to having a relationship?
Um, I will say this. I was an atheist before I even knew what an atheist was. It goes
Wow.
back to this labeling thing again.
Hmm.
This labeling thing. Um, you got so many people from the book of Genesis all the way to Revelations that still didn't believe in Christ. When you deny Christ, you an atheist. This is the label they put on you, right?
Hmm.
But I want to tell every single one of those people who have been labeled as an atheist, and if you're labeling yourself as an atheist because you think it's some cool title to have, I'm not here to condemn you, but I'm here to tell you one thing, which I know is true. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you and cares for you more than that religious person that's going to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and every single ministry they ask to join in that church that religious person is in. That's not the person that Jesus Christ is focusing on. Jesus Christ is focusing on you. And here's how I know what I'm saying is true. The majority of the New Testaments that we are reading, Book of Romans, Thess- Thessalonians, Philippians, Titus, Galatians, First Timothy, Second Timothy. Majority of these books were written by a man who, if I can use the word to compare in which yeah, he was an atheist. That man's name was Saul in the book of Acts. That man was a Pharisee, and back then, in order for you to earn that title, you really have to know the law. You had to know the Old Testament. Saul, back in the book of Acts, before chapter 9, listen to me carefully, before Acts chapter 9, his name was Saul. That man was a Pharisee, the most educated. I'm talking about can speak in all different languages, knew about God. His only problem was that Jesus Christ thing, get it out of my face.
Mm.
And in Acts chapter 9, he got saved. That man's name right now, 2023, is the Apostle Paul. So when people talk about atheists and you know what I'm saying, with me, I would hang out with an atheist any day before I hang out with a religious person. I don't
Mm.
care what religious sect you claim. I would rather hang out with that person. And where did I get that mindset and that training from? Jesus Christ, because I'm a follower of him. So whatever he does, I do likewise. Jesus Christ said it. Whatever my father do, I do the same. Jesus Christ has adopted me. I am his child. So whatever I see him do, he does. So getting back to that whole atheist thing, people that don't believe, and it goes, to me it's silly. You know what I'm saying? Just because let's take it back. I remember at one point when Donald J. Trump was the president, you had so many
Don't
people. Oh, that's not my
Donald
president.
Oh
Donald J.
wow,
Yeah, yeah,
Donald
yeah,
J.
yeah. Let's go back. Yeah, 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 yeah. One of my that's my president. Don't play with me. Let's go back to that. I remember at one point, he is not my president. He is not my president. He is not my president. You
Mm.
can deny that man while he was in the office all you want to. But the truth of the matter is, you still have to deal with the reality that when he was there for those 4 years, he was still the commander in chief and the most powerful man in the world. So it's silly. People wake up with this silly idea thinking that their opinion is so powerful that if I feel this way, that means that doesn't exist. You can deny Donald J. Trump all you want to, but at the end of the day, guess what? He's still the president of the United States. Deal with it.
But why you
The
guys
You
same
say
can
thing
middle
about
hold on,
Obama.
hold
initial
on, hold
though?
on,
Why you
hold
So
on.
guys
where
Let me
say
that?
finish my
middle
thought.
initial though?
Let me finish my thought. Let me finish my thought. Let me finish my
I want
thought.
to see how this
You
connects.
can go around. You can go
Yeah.
around deny. You can go around deny Jesus Christ all day as an atheist. Oh, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in Jesus. What does that even mean? Are you trying to convince me, or are you trying to convince yourself? So these things, it's silly. It's very silly. People don't understand. This is a battle between the flesh and spirit. We are in a battle. Just because you feel like something, you don't say, it doesn't mean it's not there. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
So black. So, but I think also what Trey was trying to figure out, he's saying like, how like while we talking now, you
Mm,
can tell that you really know the Bible, right? And I think he wanted to know like, how did you? When did you start reading the Bible? What made you start reading the Bible?
I started reading the Bible because, like I said, I felt like I was around too many religious people when I got into church. I
Mm.
started seeing something. Something occurred in my life. And I had it's like I was going to church. I'm talking about for those years, I'm going into church, and Ed will tell you, when I was living
Mhm.
with him, I was sleeping around with a married woman, Sam Scarfo. Ed will tell you,
Yeah.
going to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, drinking, smoking, popping pills. You think everything under the sun I was doing, but going in there and hearing that pastor gets up there, I don't care what personal issues he got. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I would let these, you know what I'm saying, these self-ordained God, enforcers that want to go around judging people in church, I let them deal with it. That's not my ministry. But all I know, that man is up there preaching and I'm listening. I was getting beat down day in and day out. Trey, you came to my place. You talked to my pastor.
Absolutely.
All of these things I was doing in that church, I was doing it in sin. And it was not real. I had good intentions. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
When I went down there Wednesday night teaching kids, Monday, Thursday, Saturday mornings, I was at the prison.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about nonstop, year after year, back to back. Even the chaplain was like, Jack, I think you were to stop coming to this jail for 1 year. Nobody can touch your attendance.
Mm.
I was doing this nonstop. But then I still had to come home and deal with God face to face while nobody was around. And I
Mm.
became miserable. So it came down to a point. Because you got to understand, God is very polarizing. He's a polarizing figure. He tells you in Matthew 12:30, either you're with me or you're against me. He tells you in the book of Joshua, choose who you're going to serve this day. He tells you in Revelations 3:16, either you're hot or you're cold, that lukewarm, I will spew you out of my mouth. God is very polarizing. It's either black or white with him. So with me, I'm battling with God. And man, we do that all the time. David did it. Moses did it. Abraham did it. All these great men that I read about, they all had that battle constantly with God. So I had that same battle with God. So it just came to a point that, you know what? Yo, Jack, you gotta make a decision. Because you can't keep on, you know what I'm saying, one foot in the world, one foot in the church. Because obviously you're not happy. You're miserable. So I had to make a choice. So one day, I just, you know what I'm saying, talk to God. I didn't get down on my knees. I didn't go in front of the church. No oil was spilled on my head. I didn't have to buy a handkerchief for $8.95. I talk to God the same way I'm talking to you, everybody else on this platform, who I consider as my friend. Every single one of y'all,
Mm-hmm.
I consider y'all as my friend. So the same way that I'm talking to God, I talk to him the same way. No religious, none of that religious stuff. Oh, Heavenly Father, if you know, those prayers that you're used to hearing, say people saying. It was none of that. I talk to God. You show me how to understand this word and this Bible. You know me. I'm your child. Trey, you got 3 kids, right? You know every single one of your
Allegedly.
kids. Yeah, shut up. you know, right, Trey? You
Yeah.
know every single one of your children, they all have different personality. As a father, you have studied them, right?
Yes. Yes.
You can't deal with True the same way you deal with Nora.
Nah.
You can't deal with Nora the same way you deal with True. You know what I'm saying? As a
Nah. You're right.
father, you know your children.
Yeah.
God knows my personality. God has to present the Bible in a way that I can understand. He can't show me what he showed brother so and so sitting next to me at the pew, because he come from a
Okay.
different background. So it came down to a point, you know, I was being real with God, and I kept coming. I kept reading the Bible, and all of a sudden, he started showing me. The light become brighter and brighter the more I started reading. So every single time I went to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, I didn't have to feel that guilt that, oh, my pastor's talking about me. Guess what? I already read my Bible before that man got up there and preached. I've already had that talk.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about, it goes back to what I'm saying. It's a personal relationship. A lot of these people, they don't have personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Their personal relationship is through their pastor. I'm going to follow whatever my pastor say, and then once,
Whatever.
you know what I'm saying, everything, the whole world's in, I'm going to hang on to his coattail, get to heaven. That pastor ain't going to help you. Deacon so and so ain't going to help you. Your spiritual counselor is not going to help. You have to have. It came down to a point I felt I needed that personal relationship, and I found it. So once I found it, and he identified who I was, and that's the thing about people in this world. We are going around trying to identify who we are to the Creator. He created us. Remember, we are His creation. We are going around in this world trying to identify who we are to Him. And all He's trying to do, He's standing there, just like the prodigal son. He's standing there waiting for us to come to Him so He can identify. My whole life, I thought Blackjack, 5,000, West Side, this is who I am. Deal with it. You know what God told me? My whole life, I didn't have no goals, no aspirations, nothing. All I
Mm.
said, I want to run these streets. I just don't want to end up in the Alexander jail. That was believe it or not, that was my whole goal in life. I don't want to be in jail in Alexandria. And guess what? Once I got right with God, guess where he sent me at? He put a Bible in my hand and say, you see that jail right there that you've been ducking your whole life? That's who you are. And guess what? The most peaceful place in my life, the best times that I've ever had. I don't care about how many clubs, going to London and going here, traveling here and being around. I'm telling you, the best times that I have had in my life, 42 years, was in that jail that I ducked all my life. and God identified me. That's
And what
who
you
He
mean
is.
by that? Not to cut you all black, but when you say in that jail, it sounds like you went to jail. But what do you mean by in that jail?
When I joined the prison ministry, because
Okay.
yeah, you once I finally became real with God, it's like, okay, now show me, where do I need to go? You know what I'm saying? Because God, you know what I'm saying, God give gifts to people. You might have one gift. Your gift might be singing a choir. Your gift might be a deacon. Your gift might be working in ushering ministry. I prayed to God. Instead of me being a phony, I could have joined all these ministries. I could have really joined it. I know how to be a phony. I've been saved long enough and been around church folks that are phony. I know how to play that game. Trust me. I know how to act. Trey, you saw me in action. I know how to put on an act. But I was real. I
Do
was
your
real
thing,
with
brother
God.
boy.
Show me something. Show me where you want me to go. And guess what? All those places that I was all that one place I was dunking in my whole 42 years is the place that he pointed me to. You tell me
Well,
God
let the
doesn't have a
people
sense of
know.
humor though.
Well, let the people know. Just for a little clarity, you
Yeah, yeah.
you you so you actually go to the prison and you preach at the prison, or what do you exactly do?
Yes, sir. For the past 13, 14 years, that's where I was
Hmm.
going. I was going to the
Every
prison
Saturday. Every
every
Saturday.
Saturday, Monday nights, Thursday nights,
Mm,
whenever
mm.
the doors were open. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, it's a lot of restriction. It's a lot going on. But before that, I was going there Monday nights, Thursday nights, Saturday mornings. I'm talking about nonstop because that was the place that I finally found peace. The last place I wanted to be on earth. Remember, before I got right with God, remember what my goal was. I don't want to be in that jail.
Hmm.
I just want to run around, do what I want to do. I just want to be in that jail. And that place is where God showed me that was the most peaceful place in my life. And guess what though? Just like you know what I'm saying, we talk about religion and separation. Religion, especially in churches, tell you stay away from those people. Why do I feel more comfortable and safe around a murderer, a rapist, a killer, drug dealer, you named it? I was around them. I felt more at peace with them more than I felt with my own biological family. Oh, more than how is that? This is what showed me that this Jesus thing is real. Look at the people that he picked to be around. Jesus Christ could have came down and hung out with religious folks, but he chose to hang out with a prostitute. He chose to hang out with murderers, killers, thugs, and killers, and preach to them. This is when the Bible started making sense to me that this thing, life is not about me. Life is about who created it. And he created it. Because he told me in John chapter 14, verse 6, he said, Jack, I am the life. He said, I am the way and I'm the truth and I'm the life. I am the way. Let me break it down to if I'm the way, if you're following any other way, you're going the wrong way, Jack. I am the truth. So if you believe in anything other than me, it's a lie. I am the life. So if you don't believe in me, you love death. That's when it started to make sense. I tried it, I tested it, and it's been proven. Now, am I the most spiritual person in this world? No, I'm not. Because you try me, I'm not your typical Christian. You try me, I'm
Well,
gonna
I
show
think
you.
that means, but black. I think
Mhm.
that another thing that I think when like when you said like if somebody tries me, I'm not the typical Christian. I think a lot of things are part of being a human being. If if someone was to try you or do something to you and you defend yourself, or you're not about playing games, I don't think that makes to me personally, I think that makes you a human being. I don't think that means that
No,
you're
but no,
less, you know what I mean, less Christian or whatever. That my whole thing is.
no, yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, right? But because of the ministry that I'm in, right? When you walk up in these prisons with that Bible in your hand, the first thing people who are not in tune with Christ, they see weakness. Because the way the world present Christy, the way the world present Jesus Christ, because this world hates Jesus Christ. Remember, he said it in the Bible. If this world hates me, remember they hated me first. So the way they present him to men and these children. It goes back to what Trey was asking me. Why are these kids and people rejecting Christ? Because they present him in a weak. Jesus Christ is not weak. Just because you are meek, the word meek means having strength under control. I can kill you, but I just choose to keep myself under control. Because of that weakness, the way they present Jesus Christ, they don't want nothing to do with him. They present Jesus Christ. Oh, he's on a cross. He's crying. He's bloody. He got crowns of thorns in his head. He got a spear shoved in his side. His beard is getting pulled off. They gambling on his clothes. They spitting on him. They laughing at him. They mocking him. All these things presents weakness. But if you look at it, he could have destroyed this whole entire world, but he kept his strength under control. So what I'm saying is when I go into these prisons, right? When I say when you try me, remember this is the situations, you know what I'm saying? Why normal Christians, you know what they do? Followers of Christ, when they get off of work, they are having dinner with their families or they are passing so and so house or deacon. So me, I'm sitting over here after a 14-hour shift talking to murderers and rapists and killers. So when I walk in there, they think it's weakness that I'm walking there with a Bible. But what they don't understand is Christianity is not weak. And if you don't believe me, ask David. You try David, King David, if you want to. That man will kill you, go back to his castle, and will write a psalm about you. And God is going to look at that psalm and he's going to say, that is a man after my own heart.
So
Try him
black,
if
so
you want
black,
to.
so black. So, so,
Yeah.
so you're saying so you're saying that basically that so some people, or especially when you go there, that because you're a man of God, that they look at that as a weakness,
Yeah, of
basically.
course. Yeah,
Yeah.
because remember what I said. The world has an agenda. The agenda is not Jesus Christ. It's to shut him out. So the way they present the world, they don't want people to go in the Bible find out the truth. They tell you, I'm going to show you who Jesus Christ is. So it goes back to what Trey was saying about how pastors now they are being arrested or being targeted and they showing all this on TikTok and all this. And people are
That
like,
was
oh
me.
no, that's a
Hey,
pastor.
black,
And you said that,
black.
right? Yeah.
That you giving Trey the credit. I need that credit.
Okay, 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 okay. Now you said now E, you said that. Now E, when you said that, right? Why are they putting all this stuff on TikTok? Why are they putting this all on social media? Because they are trying to program people. You know what I'm saying? Robert Greene, and I believe it's law number 42, right? And 48
Mhm.
laws of power. You strike the shepherd, the sheep will flee. You know what I'm saying? So when they attacking these pastors, what are they doing? The sheeps are going to be scared, like, oh God, they got Pastor so and so. What is going to happen to me? Remember, Jesus Christ was in the garden when the Romans came with Judas, and they came and they struck him in the garden. And guess what the disciples did? They ran when they came and arrested him. Only one disciple stayed. That was Peter. Peter's the one that took out his sword trying to cut off Malchus' head, one of the Roman soldiers. So this is why Solomon, the wisest man that will ever live, said this. There is nothing new under the sun. The devil has a playbook, and his playbook has never changed since the book of Genesis. So it goes back to what I'm saying. You study the real, you know what is fake. So when I go on social media and I see a pastor in sin, I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, I'm questioning my whole, this whole Jesus thing. No, because God has already shown me, like Jack. There is nothing new under the sun. What the devil is doing, his playbook, there is nothing new. Look what they did to my son. Jesus Christ got arrested and did nothing, was put on trial for 3 days and got crucified. And all of his believers that followed him, what did they do? They fled. So when they are doing this on social media in 2023, I'm looking at them like, oh yeah, God, you was right. Look what they doing. They're trying to get me to question my whole belief system. So it's deeper than that. It's way deeper than what people think. But in order for you to know that, you need to have that personal relationship. Stop going to church and just think, I'm not saying respect your pastor, but he ain't God. He's not Jesus Christ. And this is how I gained that strength. This is why I can't be moved. I can sit in front of anybody and boldly claim Jesus Christ because I've studied it. I don't read it. I study him. And that's all I got
For
to say
sure.
on that.
Well, that was dope. Cause guess what? I'm gonna go ahead and end it right there. I'm gonna hit this music.
But hold on. Hey, E.
What's up?
Hey, E. Hey, Black. Shout out your podcast, man. And
Yeah, I ain't about to shut it
Nice.
down. I'm getting the music queued up.
Yeah, he put that Kenny G on real smooth. Hey, yo, we get a Junior. He put that joint on. He slayed that joint there. I'm like, yeah, all right.
Hey, this is my theme music. I was waiting for this thing to come. I love this girl right
I know
here.
Trey got his bathrobe on.
Hey, you already know that,
With
Playboy.
a cigar.
With a cigar and a bubble bath.
You already know that, Playboy.
He's sitting on his water bed right there.
Hey, you already know.
Trey the only dude I know 2023 with a water bed.
Hey, shout out your pod, Black. Shout out your pod.
Yeah, Blackjack. I'm on a Podbean. My podcast is On My Way to Church podcast. It's easy to find me. If you're following this platform, you can go on a following or followers list. I'm on there. I do my show every other 2 weeks. It's not about the Bible. It's basically just me having a conversation with men, because I think men, we tend to like shy away from showing our vulnerable side because we think that it's weak. So
Trey, go ahead and get your who in the building.
He on a schedule, baby.
Hey, no.
That's why I wanna say that.
I got a whole script, man.
Listen. Listen. The song only played the song only played for a little bit, so I know it's gonna cut off. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying. Only got a few minutes, Black. I'm sorry, bro. I love you.
I like that. It's like second time.
Hey, well, first of all, we just want to thank our fantastic guests. Weekend at Junior's, Blackjack, On My Way to Church podcast. We also had a couple people in the studio with us tonight. We had Miss Nicole Mayfield. Okay, we had Ladybug in the studio with us tonight. We had EYV XMIRQ in the studio with us tonight. And we got none other but her herself, Miss Donnie, Miss Danya. She's gonna be on the show with us next week. Okay,
Sure.
so she definitely tapped in. But we definitely want to thank everybody for listening in tonight. We appreciate y'all.
For sure. We got
And subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe. You can catch the pod on of course here on Podbean, also on YouTube, Amazon Music, Spotify, anywhere that you can find that offers podcasts. You should find the Rec Room on the podcast. I think you can give us a rating. If you like what you heard, give us a 5. Also follow us on Instagram at the Rec Room Pod. If there's a subject that you would like us to talk about or any questions that you have, let us know. As I say every week, we will be shooting an in-person pod soon. That's coming up. I know I say that every time, but it really is coming up soon.
Coming up.
And with that said, man, I just want to thank our guests, Black and Weekend at Juniors, man. It was dope to have y'all on. It's not going to be the last time.
I got one question, though.
Go ahead.
AOT, how I do, T Streets, how I do?
Y'all got like 30 seconds.
Cause T called me out.
Man.
He called me out, cussed me out last night. I ain't gonna lie. He called me
Whatever.
out, cussed me out.
Hey,
You called me talking about bring that energy.
Yeah, that sound like Black.
Oh,
That
see,
sound
there
like
you
Black
go.
for real.
hey, bro, how you gonna call me and threaten me the night before the show?
Hey yo, I called him in Thursday and I threatened him. I'm like,
Hey, this y'all about to cut off, bro.
How you gonna threaten somebody 24 hours before the joint?
Black was ready, bro.
We'll
Hey,
catch y'all
man,
next
that was a
time,
great
man.
show.
Appreciate
All
y'all
right,
for
y'all.
listening. To the next
Yes,
time.
sir.
All
Peace,
right,
y'all. Be
peace.
All right,
safe. Be
peace.
good.
Peace.